It's time for Coffee on the Coast. Good morning and welcome to Coffee on the Coast. I'm your host this morning, Tina Prigge. I am so excited to be joined by Dylan Chmura-Moore, the director of the Manitowoc Symphony Orchestra, because we are going to be talking about Nosferatu. The Manitowoc Symphony Orchestra is going to be performing the live music score while this film plays at the Capitol Civic Center. This is so exciting. Dylan, welcome to the show. So glad to see you.
So glad to see you. I got my coffee. I'm on the coast. I'm feeling good.
Yeah, so I feel like for this show, instead of calling it the coolest coast, we maybe need to call it the ghoulest coast.
Oh, no, you did it. That's good. That's good. I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was going to be something with coffee. No, that's much better. That's much better.
I haven't figured out a good coffee one, so if you do, let me know. But so this is very cool. This is happening next Saturday. I know October 9th, when I say it out loud, it feels like it's far into the future, but October 9th in reality is next Saturday. It's time to be thinking pumpkins, costumes, and Manitowoc Symphony Orchestra.
I'm worried about all the music and logistics that have to happen now by next Saturday. Really? Is it next Saturday?
Sorry. I didn't mean to make you panic. But your fans are super excited about this. Let me put this graphic up. What we are talking about is the original 1922 German film Nosferatu, which is the original Dracula based on the Bram Stoker. The film is going to play at the Capitol Civic Center on the big screen while the Manitowoc Symphony Orchestra performs the score. And this is happening October 9th at 7:30 p.m. Get your tickets. Okay, tell us more. Tell us what this means.
Yeah, so I'm nervous, but I'm also excited. Absolutely, absolutely. So I think it's one of the most fantastic things that you can go to see for a live event this season, perhaps, which is you go and you see a movie which we all love, which we've all desperately be missing in various capacities. But instead of just hearing the sound through the speakers per typical, you hear a live acoustic thing in the awesome acoustic space that is the Capitol. So it's rare, it's awesome, and I hope everyone comes out for it. As you mentioned, we're showing this 1922 film, one of the 5 best German films supposedly of all time. I don't know what the other 4 are, but maybe a Google search would find that for us. But it's amazing. It's stayed with us for the last 100 years. We're celebrating the 100th anniversary of it, just like we were celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Capitol ish this year. And so we're showing this film in a way to take you back to the origins of the CCC, because that's what they used to do 100 years ago. Show movies, show black and white silent movies. And so a movie would come to town and an organist would be hired. There used to be an organ in the Capitol, if you didn't know. I heard it's still there, and I've looked for it, but I have not found it. I know. I have no idea what it looks like, where it would be housed. Is it somewhere in I don't know. Anyhow.
Wait, is that why on the sides of the stage, there's those big panels that seem to almost, be like sound panels where sound could come through? Is that where the pipes would have been?
I think the pipes were there, and now they're speakers, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm sure there's some Capitol aficionados amongst the audience that probably knows this information better than me. Anyhow, but I've heard it's still there. Max Schliessman told me that it was still there 2 years ago, so I'm sure it's still there. Anyhow, so the silent film would come to town, and an organist would be hired, and they just kind of improv to whatever they saw, more or less, in the film. This is a little bit more unique, a little bit more special. For the premiere of this film, the creators, the production team, hired a full symphony orchestra to come in and play while this music was being premiered, a unique orchestral score to be composed. So huge, big budget process, which kind of, in a lot of ways, people think that this issued in like the whole red carpet premiere kind of event that we all dress up for. And instead of dressing up in our, maybe our glam best, we're dressing up in our ghoulish best, perhaps.
Yeah, there's going to be a costume contest on the same night. So I'm going to put up this placard so people know how they can participate. You show up to the concert in your Halloween best and then post a photo of yourself in that costume on Facebook or Instagram. Tag the Manitowoc Symphony Orchestra. You get the most likes and you win. So do you have a costume planned?
I've been thinking long and hard about this. I don't know. See, here's the dilemma that I'm having at the moment is, so we're going to be showing the film, right? And that means everyone on the stage will be dark. We'll have stand lights. We'll be in the shadows. And so do I try to play that up? Do I dress all in white to make myself stand out? Do I, dress all in black and become a vampire, some sort of zombie thing that hides into the shadows? I don't know. If any of the guests, viewers, whatnot at home have any opinions, I'd love to hear them. And so maybe it will inspire me to have a contest. I don't want to just show up in a tuxedo or whatever. That seems kind of lame. So I'm still imagining. I'm still thinking what possibly could be. Do you have a costume?
I have these fangs that seem appropriate.
Well, for that costume contest, my plan is to award the best, and some people are going to go over the top, as you can imagine, right? But also the worst. And so, you could just wear those fangs, and you might take home worst costume.
But it's so thematically appropriate.
It is. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Cool. And I suppose too, when you perform, because you are actually conducting, so you've got to have something that allows you to have your full range of movement that doesn't impede anything you're conveying to the orchestra itself.
Yeah, whatever about that. So what I'm more concerned about is, besides all the stuff I already said, I'm nervous about this concert. I'm excited and I'm nervous. I like to be challenged, and so this will be a challenging thing. So the way a conductor conducts to film music is the conductor watches the film, and whatever happens in the movie, you got to time with the music. Otherwise, and actually, if you go buy the latest release of this film, Nosferatu, the latest edition, new Blu-ray, all that kind of stuff, you can rent it online too. It looks great, sharp, clear, crisp, but the music is a full 6 minutes off. It's just wrong. And as the film goes on, it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And it still sort of fits because it's all kind of spooky music. But since I have the score, now I know that is just wrong. And in fact, at the end, when they have the credits and everything fades out at the end, they just fade out the music. It's not even the end of the music. It's supposed to end. Well, I want to give away any spoilers, but it's supposed to end in a certain way, and it just doesn't. They even start the music about 45 seconds into the whole score, just to make it kind of work out, with the film left and right. It's a disaster. So if they had that much trouble coordinating the film on a professionally produced, a release, then it's going to be fun for us live in the concert. So I'm thinking, do I need to have something should I be Stay Puft Marshmallow Man or something to absorb all the sweat, that I'm having? I don't know.
So it's an interesting distinction, because you said silent films used to have an organist, and they would just improvise to what they were seeing. The symphony orchestra, you guys aren't up there improvising. You have been rehearsing. There's a score. And I heard you talk about this score, that it was specifically created for this movie. Once upon a time, there was an existing score totally lost to history, and then it was recreated by a German composer. Do you want to tell us about that at all?
I'd love to. So as I mentioned, big budget red carpet affair for this opening night. A big gala afterwards, big after party. Supposedly, the rumor has it is they spent more money on this premiere event, meaning the purchasing of the score and the musicians, and of course all the party stuff. Lots of champagne, I'm sure. Or maybe it was red imperial ale. I don't know, but some sort of drink. I'm sure was festive occasion. But they spent supposedly more on this premiere event and the music than on the entire making of the film. I don't know if it's true or not, but it was a big deal. So after the movie's made, the premiere event happens, the music was performed. Perhaps it was never heard of again, because what happened is Bram Stoker's widow got word of this premiere event and heard that this Nosferatu was a borrowing, let's say kindly, of Stoker's famous novel Dracula, and so she sued to have it being ceased from being performed or being viewed around and toured around the world. And after 3 years of litigation, she won the case. She won $5,000. She bankrupted the publishing company, and she won the rights to the film and ordered all copies destroyed. And so the music, as you can imagine, if there's no film, the music was never heard of again until 1984, I think, was the year where a composer got wind of the recreation, redigitization of, or maybe not yet, of this old movie being found in people's basements and attics and whatnot all over the world, and said, "All right, let's go see if I can put something back together." And so he took he undertook a 22-year-long process of reimagining what this original score might have sounded like, and we don't know. It wasn't recorded. We're our best guesses. And so after 22 years, he got something that sounded pretty good, premiered it, and now it's the licensed version, which of course doesn't match with the new DVD that's out. But it's still the licensed version, and it can match up. You just have to finagle it here and there. But we're up to the task. It's going to be fantastic. So
it really is.
Maybe it's U.S. premiere. I don't know. I didn't check in on this. I'm sure it's a Wisconsin premiere of this score. Maybe Midwest, or who knows. But it's rare, unique, and no one will ever hear it again, I'm sure.
I just want to unpack kind of what you said, because so you said that the widow of Bram Stoker, the author of the original Dracula, was opposed to Nosferatu, won a case to have the film destroyed. The music was lost because of that, but some of the film survived.
Well, people love the camp stuff, right? And love the spooky stuff. And so there's people who wouldn't give up their copies, No, I don't have a copy. I don't know what you're talking about. We never got one of those. And so they secretly, would show it to their friends or whatever at viewing parties, but they never were able to sell tickets for it or publicize it or whatever. And so it wasn't until I want to say, I think 30 years after her passing, that finally these films, reel-to-reel films that were all cut up in various ways, came to light, and then were joined together to make what we have today, this restoration that we have today. But yeah, lost in history, and supposedly she never even watched the film. She heard about it. She obviously knew that the estate said no to them of getting the rights to it, and then she didn't even watch it. She said, burn it all. And so they were all thrown in trash cans around the world. Luckily, some survived, and so that's how we have it today.
So is Nosferatu one of the first film representations of Bram Stoker's Dracula that we're aware of?
I'd like for it to say it's the first, but it's the second, actually. There was a Hungarian film in 1921 that came out. I've never seen it, sorry. And so 1922, Nosferatu, A Symphony of Horror. And that's the real name. That's not our name.
No kidding.
I know. We did not add that to it. That's their cut. It's the second depiction of Dracula. What I love about this, though, I don't think I said it yet today, is there's a great quote by Roger Ebert saying that the film doesn't so much as scare us, but it haunts us. And there it is. Boom. Oh no. Yep, there it is. And with that, it portrays Dracula as kind of the original spooky, creepy, disgusting, fearful, terrifying thing, with psychology to match all his physical attributes that are monsterish. It's not a sexualized Bela Lugosi 1931's U.S. kind of remake of Dracula, which we think about today. We think about vampires as being very alluring, right? But this is Dracula as a monster, as a terrifying other that is not human in any way, or was maybe even human in any way. There's a lot of similarities between the portrayal of Nosferatu and rats. As you can see, long teeth, big ears, the fingers and fingernails that are exceedingly long. He is very tall and thin of an actor, and it uses that metaphor kind of as rat throughout the film to give us the idea of death and despair, specifically the plague. We've been dealing with plagues in various ways for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, and supposedly the idea they're trying to get across, one of the ideas they're trying to get across in the movie is Dracula comes to town, Nosferatu comes to town, and with the rats, and so you can kind of push off all of the death and despair onto the plague that the rats must be carrying, but he's really the one doing it.
Is this going to be scary?
No, I don't. Again, it's not. It doesn't make you jump. I don't think you're going to go home and be fearful of the night. But
Okay.
there's it's expressionism and all its German best, and so it's extremely visual. It's very still. Every image and shot they go between is artistic. And great use of shadow, great use of light, great use of telephoto lens if you want to get campy into it, not campy, technical into it, and so it it transports us. It changes our reality a little bit into this other thing that is, the story is told through the visual medium. Again, there's no text. We're giving the music. It has to all be this visual painterly thing. So it is haunting. It is terrifying, but it's not scary in any kind of way. It's not like Saw 8 or whatever,
Good to know. But if you're there, if you're at the show with your sweetheart, you can still hold their hand, right? It's
correct. And actually, there's some beautiful things about it. There's a love story that happens, throughout, and it's kind of early feminism in a lot of ways. Actually, the hero is Ellen, is the heroine. It's not about like in the books, there's no damsel in distress or anything like that. The strongest person is this woman who's thinking about self-sacrifice to save everyone. It's actually pretty forward-thinking in a lot of ways.
Oh, I love it. That's so cool. I think a lot of people don't have an experience of seeing a silent film with that live music. I know I certainly don't. So I'm super excited to kind of take in this experience, to hear the live music, to watch the film, to have just this historic film experience too. What a cool thing you're doing. And, I was thinking about it too, Dylan. This film itself is almost a vampire, right? Like they tried to kill it. It almost went away. It survived. It's back.
And that myth is integral to how it stayed alive, I think, in so many minds. They're so convincing in the portrayal of Dracula. We've all seen the picture now of what he looks like. Is that many people, maybe the majority of people, thought that the actor who played Nosferatu, Max Schreck, not Schreck like we know with the green monster ogre, but a German version of that Schreck, was an actual real live vampire. In fact, his name translates to scare or fright, basically. Exactly, it's inspired not just the myth of him being a real live vampire and the production company, following his mission and his aim of trying to popularize perhaps vampires and telling a story, but it's inspired the Shadow of the Vampire, as you showed. 80 years later, 3-time Oscar nominated film, a great film telling the story of Max Schreck being a vampire on the set. There's great lore filled in this. The production company that started because of wanting to make this film, Prana Films, translate from the Sanskrit as life force. And you think about life forces and vampires, it's all about blood and what we can take or give to another person. It's fantastic. The production company folk were part of an occult. So even after everything went bankrupt and they went on in their own respective careers, and some in film and some not in film, they kept on believing in the mystic and the mysterious and in the other and the spooky and the netherworlds and whatnot. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome.
So the actor's name you said is Max Schreck. And did I hear you say that Schreck translates to scare?
Or fright? Absolutely. Yep. You can't make this stuff up. It's ridiculous.
And so did he look like this in general, or is this heavy costume and makeup?
There's some costume and makeup, obviously. The teeth, obviously. I'm sure there's some faux ears going on there, right? Maybe, the fingernails, I don't know. Did they have prosthetic fingernails back then? I don't think so, right?
Creepy.
Who you will see him in person, and his stature, his walk, it's bizarre. But the whole lore doesn't even end there. So I think in the second Batman movie, Batman Returns, from the 90s, the villain was named Max Schreck. I'm sure that's not a coincidence, right? There's a beer in Ohio. This is why I thought of it earlier. There's a beer out of Great Lakes Brewery, which is a decent microbrew, that they have a red ale called Nosferatu, an imperial red ale, of course. Nosferatu isn't a real word, but it's from Romanian, Transylvania, whole, Carpathian Mountains region kind of thing, which translates to somewhere like the insufferable. There's an ancient Greek also, kind of Nosferatu Dophos. I couldn't pronounce it for you even if I wanted to. That talks about plague carrier. it's all connected. It's a little bizarre, but there's funny things too. When the film was first being run, and they needed to hire extras, and they put an ad in the newspaper, and the newspaper ad said, "Wanted 30 to 50 living rats." I mean, they're just a normal company too, like trying to get things for their set. What's even more funny is a few days later, 2 days later, in the same newspaper, an ad ran for a rat catcher. I mean, it's like, are you kidding me?
Well, at least the ad didn't say looking for 30 to 50 actors, O positive preferred.
There you go. That'd been too obvious, right? That would destroyed the myth, I think, probably.
Right. Okay, cool. This is so fascinating. And this all coordinates with this upcoming event. I want to tell people one more time, it's the original Dracula screening of Nosferatu with the Manitowoc Symphony Orchestra performing the score. Dylan, you said it's called Symphony of Horror, and that is the original title that goes along with it. It is Saturday, October 9th, 7:30 p.m. at the Capitol Civic Center. There is also a costume contest. So let's tell people how they can get tickets. All you have to do is go to cccshows.org. So that's Capitol Civic Center, right? cccshows.org. Here's a quick glimpse of the individual ticket prices. So it is easy, and they're available right now.
So some very cool things with the new ticket pricings that I don't know, easily shared in word of mouth with all your friends, is that if you're 35 and under, $10, bam, boom, done. If you are, if you want a 4-pack, maybe your grandparents and a kid, maybe just 4 adults having a nice night on the town. 4-pack is, I think, $63, but for 4 tickets, that's not too bad, right? And of course, individual tickets are sold as well. But so it's affordable. I think we hope to try to make it as affordable as possible, and a nice night out. And afterwards, everyone's invited to an after party with the musicians and me in your Halloween best, perhaps at the Capitol. At the courthouse pub. We'll just walk up the street, the block, and have some perhaps ghoulish drinks following the ghoulish show, and have some community. Costume contest, great film, great music, great people, great drinks perhaps afterwards. It'll be a good time.
I love that encouragement to the 35 and under set, that it's, such a deal, $10 to see this incredible, live symphony performance. So not only are you seeing the live symphony performance, but you're also screening this historic silent film at the Capitol Civic Center, which is currently celebrating 100 years. Silent films is what they originally were doing. So it's just such a cool, completion to this circle.
And of course, we're turning 70, or we're celebrating 70 years as well. So there's lots of birthdays all about.
Yeah, fantastic. Dylan, thank you so much for taking your time to join us here on Coffee on the Coast this morning to tell us about this exciting upcoming event. Just give us a quick plug too. What's in the future docket for the symphony after Nosferatu? After that, November 20th, another Saturday, we're going to kick off the holiday season with the holiday concert. We're bringing in a local, I don't know if he's a celebrity. I'm going to call him a celebrity. A local celebrity. He's a Broadway star from the area, bringing him back home, and he's going to sing with the symphony your holiday favorites. So we all have our traditional carols that make up the holiday season for us. He's going to be singing those, leading us in a big sing-along. So everyone in the Capitol can sing loud and proud, but we're always going to do them because it's, I don't know, me. We're going to do them with a little bit of a twist. And so we're going to be doing arrangements, versions of them that were, I guess, made popular with Mannheim Steamroller. So everyone knows the Mannheim Steamroller and the kind of rocky versions of some of the holiday favorites. Half of the concert is that, with him singing and lead us in the kind of a Broadway style thing. It's going to be awesome. And the first half is kind of more the holiday traditional favorite. So it's a little bit of Bach, a little bit of Vivaldi, that doesn't hurt anybody, but it certainly brings us in a season and fitting to the times. Another cool thing with that, though, besides this guy named Daniel LeClaire coming home and singing for us, is we all like to celebrate, the holiday season at the light show at the zoo, and we listen to music as we go through the light show, right? We turn our radio to a certain dial, right, and we listen to it. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to record our concerts live and pump it through your car as you go through the light show. So if you want to be impress your friends and be heard on your radio as you go through the light show, come to the concert, sing part of the sing along that we'll be having, and you will hear yourself singing loud and proud on the radio as you go through the Festival of Lights. That is fantastic. I love how creative you are getting with the symphony. That's fantastic.
we're excited. And of course, we've got a whole nother season beyond, 2 more concerts in the spring, but one thing at a time. Next Saturday,
you've got a score to study. So last time, here you go, folks. It is the original Dracula, Nosferatu, live screened. So it's what did you call it? A live film to screen event?
Yeah, live to film. I think it's terrible. I don't know why they call it that. What does that even mean? Live to film? Live music, of course, to a film being projected, but I don't know. Yeah, we're showing a live movie. We're showing a movie. We're playing live music.
Sounds awesome. We'll look forward to seeing everybody there. Dylan, thanks for joining us on the Ghoulist Coast. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me, Dean. That's lovely.